Well, hello everyone. And we are the Matriarchs of Fandom. I am here today with Miss Liz and Miss Lady Gray. And today's show is something that I actually been kind of wanting to do probably in a couple years from now. But in the news recently, they've been talking about Harry Potter. Now I know Miss Liz and Miss Lady Gray is really big Harry Potter fans. I was on Facebook the other day and I saw that they were talking about, and hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right, Voldemort, and trying to decide. Oh no, there's my video. If he should be. There we go. How you doing, Miss Lady Gray?
I couldn't hear you. My sound went away.
But I was on Facebook the other day, and they were talking about Harry Potter, and everybody knows that they're doing a new show that's going to be on HBO Max, which is supposed to come out in 2027. What I saw was they was trying to debate if Voldemort, I don't know if I pronounced his name right, should be a man or a woman. I don't know. I've seen all the movies, but I'm an okay Harry Potter fan. So I do have the two ladies with me tonight, and I just want to ask some questions about what they think about the new Harry Potter series, and maybe a few questions about the old movies. Now, one thing I do want to say is the first movie came out in 2001. There's 8 movies. And the books was written between 1997 and 2007. Now, the first thing I do want to mention, since I mentioned Voldemort, and this is kind of what made me decide to do, those are the movies there. This quick podcast on it. Do you think Voldemort should be a woman, or do you think it should be a man? I'm gonna go ahead and ask Miss Liz that question first.
Man.
Okay, why?
Because he's already a man. The Voldemort character that we know and have watched for years, and played by Liam Neeson, excellent, by the way. It shouldn't be any. It's like what they did with Battlestar Galactica when they changed, characters into girls, and it should stay as a man.
Okay. Miss Lady Gray, do you agree or disagree?
Okay, so my first reaction was, no, he's got to stay a man. But then I got to thinking about it, just as you said that. I think it would be kind of interesting if they wrote it well, where, because women are classically underestimated, it would be kind of interesting if you had this great villain, and part of why she rose up to be a villain would be because she was underestimated, maybe. I don't know. I think it could be interesting. I don't know that I necessarily want them to change up maybe this story. I think they could, I don't know. There's enough in the Harry Potter universe that they could definitely do sequels down the road with female villains. There's room for that. That there's room to do it. They don't need to change up the original. So, I think a female villain would be cool, but I don't know that he needs to be the female villain.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that there's enough going on in the world of Harry Potter. Now, doing my little research on the subject, at one point, it looks like they were talking about doing another movie called Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which would have been like 19 years after the last movie, which would have been about Harry's youngest son, and I think they said something about time travel. Now, would you want them to go from 19 years later? Or do you like the idea of the series, which it is going to be rebooted? Miss Liz, I'm gonna have you answer that question first.
Well, they're doing it to base it off the Broadway play and the book. So I would think they were pretty much stayed true to the original story of the cursed child. So it would definitely be 19 years or 20 years into the future. And the story behind um, Harry's third child, and also one of the other major characters is one of our favorite Slytherin's kid.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I can't remember who the. I know there's a young lady in this story, but it's been a while since I read the book, and I can't remember who her parents were.
Okay. Lady Gray, do you know the answer?
Okay. So I think I know what you were asking. So do I want a reboot or do I want them to continue the story with the cursed child? I
Yes.
think okay. So I would much rather them continue the story. I'm kind of the oddball. I liked the cursed child. I know a lot of the Harry Potter fans didn't like it. I liked that they continued the story, and that would be my preference for them to continue the story. I want to go back to Hogwarts and do, but I don't necessarily want a reboot. We've lived through the story with Harry and Ron and Hermione and Draco and all the other characters. I want to know what happens to their children and their children's children. So yes, I want the cursed child or thereabouts. And it was yeah, it was uh Scorpius was Draco's son, and you had Rose was the girl, and she was Ron and Hermione's son.
Oh, okay.
And
I couldn't remember.
yeah, and you know, I liked their story. I think it could have gone farther. I would have loved to have had more stories about what happened to all the different children at Hogwarts. Down the road, what happened to like Neville's children, or any of the other Luna's children, or there was so many possibilities that were out there. I don't think we needed to do a reboot. I think that's just kind of a little bit of a waste when we could go forward.
Okay. Now, since we're talking about the kids, do
Hmm.
you think their pairings was good? I mean, Harry married Ginny Weasley. I think that's
Jenny,
Ginny Weasley, and then Ron married Hermione. Do you think that was a good pairing? Because I remember when I watched the movie, I didn't really care for that pairing. I thought Hermione was a little bit too smart for Ron. I hate to say it, but Lady Grace, as you're shaking your head and I lost my lights, what do you think about that pairing or either pairing?
um, so and I'll probably get hate for this, but whatever. Um, I didn't I unlike a lot of people, I didn't want Hermione and Harry to end up together. To me, they were too much like brother and sister. I agree with you. I didn't like Hermione and Ron together for the same reason. I like Ron, no hate on Ron, but I just thought Hermione was too smart for him. She needed somebody to challenge him. I would have loved to have seen a full character arc with Draco, to see her end up with someone like him, someone smart, because she's very smart. And I would have liked to have seen her end up with someone intellectually her equal. And I don't feel like she did. Um, as far as who Harry ended up with, I'm kind of okay with Jenny. She was spicy, and Harry definitely needed someone spicy. So I was
And she's
okay with
smart.
that. And she's smart. She's smart enough and she's spicy enough that she could handle him being the chosen one without letting it, you know, she's never going to let it go to his head. If he starts letting it, getting a big head over being the chosen one, Jenny definitely smacked him upside the head and said, you know, chill out. As far as Ron, Ron was a family man. He would put family first. So I think he needed somebody who would, like his mom, who would be, you know, a very much a family person, not somebody quite as career oriented as Hermione would be. And there's nothing wrong with being career oriented. Obviously, I'm a career woman, so obviously I don't think anything's wrong with that. Not that there's anything wrong with being a family woman either. I don't want to get any hate for that. I'm not saying
No hate, please.
no hate. Just different people have different skills that they're good at, you know. I agree. I didn't like the pairings as much, and I didn't understand them. I like the idea of Hermione and Draco, but I know a lot of people don't, and it is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Miss Liz, what about the pairings?
Well, I think Harry and Ginny were destined from the get go to be together. And I think it's a good pairing between Ron and Hermione because Hermione keeps Ron in line and keeps him from going off the, you know, because he's a bit flighty when he can be, you know, and true, he is not as smart as she is. But being the fact he's a family man, I think that was a good idea. And um, and I'm not really sure who Draco ended up with some other woman, which probably was a good pairing for him. And I think Neville ended up with a good pairing also. So you know,
Neville
Okay.
ended up with a Hufflepuff. So
huh?
Neville ended up with a Hufflepuff. You can't go wrong
Yeah,
with a Hufflepuff.
she ended up with
No,
what's
he
her
ended up
name?
with a Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
So
I think
yeah,
it's a good idea.
yeah.
I think what they got was, you know, worked out. Because I don't think Hermione and Harry would have meshed. I think they're too
For the
strong
Strong
clash.
will.
headed. Yeah, they would
Yeah,
they would have they would have smashed. You know, their egos would have gotten the better of them, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
And so I
Okay.
think it's a good idea that what what they got was what they got. You know.
Alrighty. Now, this question actually came from my daughter. Now, I guess in the first movie, and I don't know what you call the hat. I'm sorry, guys. But when they were in, I guess the ballroom and the hat went onto
The sorting hat.
yes, onto Harry's head. Now, Harry should have been Slytherin,
But
but he
that's
was
because of
going
Voldemort.
true, but he was going off and on, over and over again to be, Gryffindor. How do you think the movie would have changed if Harry was in Slytherin other than, yes,
Now,
look, it's the hat there.
Yeah.
How would the
I don't
movie
think it would have been a
different?
good pairing. I don't. I think they, this, Harry would not have done well in Slytherin. Nope.
So, do you think only he has not gone well? Do you think the outcome would have been the same with pretty much Harry saving the day, or do you think with him being Slytherin, can pronounce it right, he would have been corrupted?
No,
That's
because
a good
I
question.
don't think Harry would have. He was no, he would not have been corrupted.
Okay, Lady
Just
Gray, what
because
do you think?
Voldemort had a little bit of Voldemort in him, like his godfather said, you good and evil, not every, split. It's your decisions and your actions that whatnot. And I think Harry had a level head on himself, basically, when it come to that.
Okay, Lady Gray, what do you think?
It's so, and that's an interesting question. So, he had a horrible home life, and it kind of goes into kind of, that's kind of a deep thought. So, you have out in the real world, you have these people who have horrible home lives, these horrible abusive childhoods, and what makes one become a serial killer and one become a priest who wants to save people. You know would Harry have become the hero if he had been sorted into Slytherin as opposed to Gryffindor? you know you like to think that his character would have stood strong regardless of where he was sorted. I like to think he would have, because I think he had enough of his parents' spirit in him that he would have. Um, I don't know. That's an interesting question.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I when she said it to me, I was saying the same thing. I was like, I never thought about it before. So,
Well, his
okay.
son ended up going in Slytherin.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't know. I didn't read the book.
Well,
Any
I
of the
think he,
books.
I think the whole reason he went to Slytherin, because he could have gone Gryffindor, he went to Slytherin because he wanted to be with Lucius, and he was his friend. So I think that's the reason he did it.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. All right. Now, since we're talking about the houses, Miss Liz, what house are you? Now, when I'm looking this up, it says Gryffindor, which is bravery, courage, strong sense of justice, willfulness to stand up for what is right. You had, which is the symbol is fire. There we go. You have Hufflepuff, which the symbol is earth, which is hard work, dedication, reliable, fair play, and patience. Ravenclaw, which is air, values intelligence, knowledge, creativity, curious, and insightful. And Slytherin, which is water, which kind of remind me of, oh, I'm watching Avatar. Ambition, leadership, negative reputation, and determination. My question to you, Miss Liz, which one are you?
I'm Gryffindor.
Okay, why would you say
I've
that?
always been Gryffindor. I got selected into Gryffindor on several selecting times, and I only had one time where I got selected as a Ravenclaw. So basically, and I play a Gryffindor. I play, you know, Professor McGonagall, who's definitely a Gryffindor.
Okay,
So
okay.
I've always been a Gryffindor. Every time we went to one of the book launchings, they had us. They did the sorting thingy, and I always got picked as Gryffindor, except for once, and I got Ravenclaw. So
Okay, awesome, awesome.
so
Lady Gray,
basically,
Lady Gray, which house you're in?
100% Hufflepuff.
Okay,
Always.
why?
Um, Hufflepuffs, we're a little crazy, but we are 100% loyal. Um, we're cute. Our symbol is a badger, and we're a lot like a badger. We look cute and cuddly,
Mm-hmm.
but you mess with us or you mess with our people, and we will bite, and we will bite hard. Um, but we also like cookies. So,
Okay.
I actually even have my Hufflepuff blanket right here, and I have a Hufflepuff flag, and I have Hufflepuff everything back here.
same here.
I've always been Hufflepuff, and from the get go, and I cosplay Helga Hufflepuff when I cosplay Harry Potter. So
Okay.
Yeah, I have
yeah,
all my Gryffindor stuff. I got my blanket and so on and so forth for Gryffindor, and so it was ordained that I be Gryffindor. So, and that's why all my friends says, "All right, you got to play Professor McGonagall because you'd make And that's how I ended up being Professor McGonagall, is because everybody said, "Well, you're Gryffindor. Why don't you be, because older lady, and it seems to fit."
Okay, that's good. That's good. These traits, I guess we really do see each other, and maybe other people as these traits. Um, I think for me, it just really depends on my mood. My daughter kind of mentioned Hufflepuff, but then I know myself, so I can see myself being Slytherin. But it just depends on, am I at home, if I'm with family, I'm at work. So I just think I change just based upon how crazy I am at the time.
That's very true
And
because
she's a
I'm very
Hufflepuff.
Slytherin at work. At work,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
Slytherin.
yeah. See.
I see you as Ravenclaw. I
Okay,
see you as very
Ravenclaw,
Ravenclaw.
Intelligent Knowledge. Okay,
I see you as very Ravenclaw.
I thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so I just want to ask just one more question, real fast. Now we're all adults, and I can definitely tell both of y'all have read the books. I have never read the book. Did y'all read the books as they first came out or as an adult? And considering my age, do you think that I will enjoy the books now?
Yep.
Or do you suggest I just should stick with the movies and the new series? Miss
I said you
Miss
should read the
Liz,
book.
30 seconds or less. Answer the question. What is it, honey?
I said you should read the books. You get more. You really, really, really get to understand the Harry Potter universe through the books. There's a lot more information, and you learn a lot behind each all the families and the different characters and so on and so forth. And you learn a lot from reading the books, because I did the books and the movies. So,
Okay. Miss Gray, do
some
you
of them
agree?
are, and I've read them twice.
Oh, okay.
Um, I definitely recommend the books. Some of them because, to be fair, she is British, so you do have British dry. There's some of them kind of drag a little bit. Um, if nothing else, you could get the books on tape and listen, like in the
Oh,
car, or like when you're working, or like if you're walking or whatever. You can listen to the books on tape, because I did that some. Especially with some of the later ones were a little slower. Um, I think they're definitely worth, because you get a whole lot more out of the books than you did the movies.
okay. Interesting. Okay. I've never thought about reading the books, but I don't know, maybe I'll think about it. I'm curious about the new series, and I probably will definitely watch it. I can definitely tell y'all two will, so I
Oh,
guess we'll see.
absolutely.
I only want to say one other thing before we go last tonight. I was talking to my coworker today, and apparently in Satin, Virginia, this weekend is doing in Queen City, Mischief and Magic has been doing it for 10 years, and it's a Harry Potter festival this weekend. They're going to have music and dance, butterbeer, which I wish I knew this beforehand, because I would have made the 2-hour drive just for the butterbeer. But since you two ladies are interested, if y'all got nothing to do and time to drive up there, it is this weekend. It's free. It's from 10 to 9. And if you do, drink some butterbeer for me. I wanted to thank Miss Liz and Miss Lady Gray for joining me tonight. If you like the show, please like and subscribe. Thank you for joining, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye.